Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another weekly setup. So I'm going to be breaking down all these 20 pairs using the fxalexg set and forget strategy, and let us see if we can get a good pair we'll be trading for next week. Right, so last week was really just changing structures up and down, but let us see what we'll have this week. So let's start from the beginning. So we have the first pair here, EURUSD. We'll delete everything, we'll clean our chart to see a cleaner perspective, right? And then we'll look at this market structure clearly. So weekly time frame, on EURUSD, I'll argue that weekly time frame is actually bearish, right? So let me show you guys why I say it's bearish. Because at the time, this was the lowest point, that was the lower low, and this was the lower high for that right here. But price actually broke below that level, making this the new lower low, and this the new lower high. Now price broke above with one candle, making this the new higher high, and this the new higher low. Overall direction, I still believe this market should be selling, but weekly time frame is currently bullish. Daily time frame is actually still bearish because this is still the lowest point right here, and price never actually broke below that level, and this will now become the lower low right here and the lower high. So this market structure is still bearish. So weekly is bullish on EURUSD, daily is actually bearish. Now 4-hour time frame is now bullish, so we don't have two time frame in sync, right? So we will not be trading EURUSD for this week. Let us see the next pair, gold. Let us see if we have anything on gold. Again, we delete everything we have on our charts, right? And then let's just start with the 4-hour time frame, simply because I've been testing the strategy on gold. It doesn't seem like we usually use the weekly and daily time frame all the time, right? So from the 4-hour time frame, you can almost tell that gold is consolidating right here around this level right here. Price is no longer trending like this, it's pretty much consolidating right now. So what we can pretty much draw right now is support levels and resistance levels. So this right here will be our support level, something like this. Okay, and let us see if we can get a resistance level. So something here like this, right? So this is the cleanest support level and resistance level I can get. So price pretty much close above, come inside, and so on, right? But this is the highest point, and this is the lowest point price has gone. So we'll mark those highs right here, and we'll mark those lows. So this is the overall range, right? From here to here is the overall bearish range, but from here to here is where price is likely to react from. So we have more reactions from this area right here, right? This area right here. So we have more reactions from this area, but here is the overall range, which means if price actually start closing above this level, we'll consider this market structure bullish. Price start closing below this level, we'll consider market structure bearish. So for now, price is still in this range, right? So now let's go over to the 1-hour time frame and see. 1-hour time frame, as you can clearly see, price has reacted from this level multiple times. Right now we are still somewhere in the middle. We cannot really be buying or selling somewhere in the middle. We can only be buying from here or selling from here. So for now, there's nothing much for us to do. But what do I think price is going to do? I simply believe that price will continue selling until we get to this level. It's as easy as that. But for now, there's nothing really solid for us to do, right? Next pair we have GPBUSD. Let's start from the weekly. Weekly time frame is overall, you can argue if this market is actually bullish or bearish. In my case, I'll just call it bearish, right? I'll be counting this as the higher high right here, and I'll be counting this as the lower high right here, right? So it's arguable. You can decide if it's bullish or bearish in your own books, but I'll be calling this bearish, right? Bearish. So weekly bearish. Daily, now daily time frame is also bearish because this is now the lower low. Let me delete everything. So this right here is the new lower low, as you can tell, lower low right here, and the lower high for that is right here. So daily is bearish, right? Okay, now that daily is bearish, let's go over to the 4 hour and see. So 4 hour is also bearish right now. Now technically this is actually the lower low, because the lowest point, and this is actually the lower high, right? So this trade will be ready as soon as Monday opens. And I cannot see any price action around here that is going to stop price from getting all the way down here, to be honest. Right? So this trade, if you can catch this trade, this might be a very big one, a very high risk reward ratio trade. So let me show you exactly how it looks. We'll be entering on the 1 hour time frame, by the way, but imagine if, assuming we're entering on the 4 hour time frame, this trade might actually give a potential 1:10 risk to reward ratio. Is crazy, but we'll decide on if to enter. It really depends on what market does as market is opening, right? So let's look at the 1 hour time frame, which will be our entry time frame. So coming over to the 1 hour time frame, the market was clearly bearish. In this case, I'll just argue that it was bullish. So higher high, higher low, then it broke structure, bearish again, right? So I'll now be calling this the new lower low, lower high. Now price is now bearish again. Okay, so the 1 hour time frame is also bearish, right? We have now had the break. It's a minor break, but we have had a break. We have had the retracement. Now we can get an engulfing. So we are only looking for an engulfing to enter GPBUSD. That's crazy. So as soon as market is opening, we should start paying attention to GPBUSD as soon as possible. But if you want to play this safe, this is the perfect way to play safe. Let me show you. If you want to play it safe, I'll highly recommend that you just wait for a minor break and retest under this level right here, right, to sell GPBUSD to potentially this target right here, which would be crazy, right? So GPBUSD will be my first pair for this week. I hope it doesn't shift structure as soon as market opens. That's the only thing, right? Now let's go over to other pairs. Wow, I like GPBUSD. I'm going to be very interested in that market. NZD card. Now NZD card was just ridiculous last week, but this is what we have, right? So we'll delete everything we have on our chart. Now the very first thing I can tell from the weekly time frame is that we have a lot of consolidation around this level right here. So let's do something like this. So there's a very strong resistance level around here. Price has pretty much never traded above this level since this level, and this is the weekly time frame. So if I tell you the time frame at which price has not, this is the last time price traded above this area of interest, right? So from when price stopped trading above that area of interest, it has actually taken price about 609 days, as you can tell right here. 609 days, price has never traded above this level. If you can put your stop loss above that level, I don't think price is going to get there, right? So now price is currently around that level right now. So that is just one information we have on the weekly time frame. But the market structure right now is actually bullish on the weekly time frame, right? So weekly is still bullish. Daily, now daily time frame, let's see. Okay, so let's see, bullish, bearish, bullish. So daily is also bullish, right? Daily is also bullish. Now we don't really like that information because we are not expecting price to be getting above here, right? That's why we looked at the weekly time frame. Looking at the daily time frame is the exact same thing. Price has barely gotten above that level, right? So we are expecting that price will get to this level again and actually reject from this level, right? Okay, so but these two time frames are bullish, so this might be a counter trend trade setup. Just keep it in mind. Also the 4 hour time frame is bullish, so this is what I'm expecting, right? This is what I'm expecting we should just simply continue bullish because we are bullish right now, and once we get to this area, we want to see price having some form of reaction telling us that this area is going to be holding, then having shift of structure and retracement for a discount price for us to be interested in selling. So that's what will make more sense. I think I'll just keep it close. I don't think it's going to be happening this week because it needs a lot of data, because this is 4 hour time frame. It needs a lot of structure. So I believe that this market might actually be ready like next week or next upper week. It really just depends, right? But I want this area to hold because simply it has held this price multiple times, right? It has held this price multiple times. So Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. GPBUSD, let's see. Now GPBUSD was one trade we took a loss last week. Last week, by the way, we had a lot of trades, but we took only one trade, which was this one, right? And the rest of the other trades, let me show you guys. The rest of the other trades were just loss avoided, another loss avoided, as you can see right here. Loss avoided right here. We avoided a lot of losses last week, but we are able to. Market still gave us one, so I will still count last week as a W because I was supposed to lose quite a number of trades last week. Last week was really just shifting structure. People in the Telegram, they were complaining. Alexg also lost last week, right? Most of the market were just shifting structure. So I understand, you understand, but I'm also happy that we did not take all the losses. We just took only one and we avoided the rest, all the rest of them, right? So I mean that will still count as a W in my books, right? But let us see what we have this week because or should we do a trade recap of what happened right here? Now, trade recap of what happened right here. This was the entry time frame. We have seen that we wanted to sell the market clearly because the market have clearly been selling. It only makes sense for us to continue selling. So price was now trading under this area. We are looking to sell, to continue the sell, right? So price was coming bullish. It shifted structure bearish. We had the retracement. We had doji showing rejections, and then we had an engulfing, and that's when I entered the trade. And price pretty much never even came into profit, right? So things like this always happen, but I felt like I could have waited for a better engulfing. I mean, this right here just feels like a lot of consolidation, right? If you look at when I entered, let me show you. If you look at when I entered the trade, the engulfing was pretty strong, but we had 15 minutes to close. But I was feeling sleepy, right? That is the thing. I could have also avoided this loss if I just waited these 15 minutes for this candlestick to close. As you can see, it actually closed as a doji. If I saw this candle as a doji, I would have not actually entered this trade. But that was me just trying to catch the trade before I fall asleep, right? So I could have also avoided this loss too as well, but it is what it is, right? So I'm not really mad. It just happens, right? So now let us break down the markets on GBP and see if he has a new, if we have a new perspective on this market right here. So let's delete everything we have. Weekly time frame, very, is it bullish, is it bearish? We can't tell, but we can tell that we have some form of a weekly resistance level that price has respected before, at least 2 times. If I go over to the left, you can see that it's not little times. It has been about clearly one right here, 2, 3, 4, 5. So clearly price is actually respecting this level. So we'll just pay attention to this level, right? Daily time frame. Now daily time frame, price is at that level again, and it's clearly a strong level, right? But it's not really an area of interest. An area of interest should be drawn within the lower low and lower high, right? This right here is just a resistance level, so just keep it in mind. Also, I can see some minor trend line. It's just to visualize the market, but I mean, pretty much seems like price has been going up. So trend line, this market is not so clean so far. I'm not loving it so far. 4-hour time frame is now currently bullish. So I generally don't know what to do on this market right now, but what I believe should happen is that price should break above this high first. If it breaks above this high, have a shift of structure, and at that point I want the EMA to actually be shifting bearish. Right now you can see it's holding price as support. I want it to be shifting bearish, have a retracement to this previous structural point, right, and an engulfing around here to be selling. So it really just depends, but I'm not really interested right now. I might just keep it close to monitor and see, but I'm not really interested in GPBUSD right now. GPBUSD. All right, so weekly time frame, pretty much looking like a consolidating market, right? You can clearly tell that from the EMA. If you look at the EMA, it was bullish at the time, but for the past, since here, right? So since around this level to current market price, for 133 days, price has pretty much not had any major movement that we can see a clear direction of, right? As you can see, it's pretty much flat. This right here is pretty much moving, as you can see, moving to the upside, right? But this right here is pretty much flat to me. So I don't really like paying attention to consolidating market, simply because the strategy doesn't really work on a consolidating market. It works on a trending market, a market that is going up and down or to one direction, so that we can just catch those higher highs and higher lows, or lower lows and lower highs, right? So this market structure right now still bearish, basically, because this is still the lower low. This is still the lower low right here, and the lower high for that is this one right here. So I'm not really interested in this market, because I can actually barely see how to trade this market. Basically, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't think that makes sense anyways. But the point is that I'm not interested in GBPUSD. Next pair, GBP Wow, JPY pairs last week, right? I just remembered JPY pairs last week went ballistic, right? If you see these candles, man, they were crazy. I was just kind of imagining that I actually caught this trade. It's crazy, right? So last week I was actually expecting price to have a clean break and retest above here, because clearly at the time we were clearly moving to the upside, right? Let me show you guys. We are clearly moving to the upside, as you can see. So we are expecting that we should continue moving to the upside until this week came, right? So but we did not have any clean break and retest above here. That's why we never actually took the trade, right? And so we avoided this insane loss, by the way. So let me just look at this market to see if I would have caught this selling trade. So first of all, market is bullish on the daily. We would have been looking for buys. Weekly, well, we had the doji that shows some kind of a reversal. So weekly was still bullish at the time anyways. Daily was also still bullish. 4-hour was also still bullish. So we had all 3 time frame bullish. So I mean, there was no reason to really be paying attention to this market. So after the very strong candle to the downside, we had some form of retracement. We had an engulfing, but where will you put your stop loss after the engulfing? So it does not make sense to enter. So we had a new break under this level right here. We had the retracement and we had a very strong engulfing, too strong of an engulfing, not making sense. We had a new break under this level, not a very solid break. We had the retracement, we had an engulfing. Could have entered here, but this break is not a strong break, so I will not have entered this market. So we just missed. I mean, we are not paying attention to it, but even if we were paying attention to it, we would have still missed everything right here, right? But right now, what makes more sense is a retracement, because this is now a very solid break. This one right here, this candle right here, is a very solid break. If you can have a retracement to somewhere around here, we'll be interested in selling, right? And this is the 1 hour time frame, so that's very good. So let me check the daily again. I don't like the higher time frames on this market, right? I don't like the higher time frames on this market. It feels like the market is going to recover, something like this. Very strong price movement to the downside. It feels like it's going to recover, going to the upside, right? Very strong movement to the downside. It feels like price is going to recover. So I don't know. I don't think I'll be paying attention to GBP JPY, for this week. In fact, I don't think I'll be paying attention to JPY pairs this week, right? I need to see what happens next week. If they are recovering or if they're going to continue bearish, then I'll know what to do next, right? Let's see. Is this a JPY pair? Yeah, AED JPY. So we'll also not be paying attention to AED JPY. USD card. Alright, USD card daily time frame, overall bullish. What's going on? I don't like this market for some weird reason. What's going on? Is not clean. It's not clean. So I'm not interested. My mind is telling me something. I'll just simply do it. Euro AUD next pair. Let us see. We'll delete everything that we have. Weekly time frame. Seems like we have found support at somewhere around this level. First of all, let's just mark it out first. right? But is the market structure bullish or is it bearish? So the market structure on weekly time frame is actually bearish. So we have bearish market structure on the weekly time frame. Daily time frame. So daily time frame, we have bullish, bearish, bullish, 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 bearish, bearish, bullish. So we have the daily time frame is bullish, right? Now this will be our area of interest on the daily time frame right here. I don't know why the daily area of interest is looking like a minor area of interest, but is a valid area of interest. So let me show you guys why I drew this area. Let me put this on. Right, as you can see, we have one rejection right here at this area. We have two rejection at this area, and we have three rejection at this area. This is what makes an area of interest a valid area of interest. If I extend this to the left, you can see that we also had another rejection right here at this area. So price has come back to this area and had the doji, which shows that price have also rejected this area again, right? So daily is bullish. Now 4-hour time frame. Now 4-hour time frame, I don't know. Can you argue? You can argue if this is bullish or bearish, depending on if this is the higher high. Let me show you guys higher high, and this is the higher low, or this will be your higher low. It really depends on you on this case. Now in my case, to be safe, I'll just call this the higher low. You know, making market structure bearish. So if market structure is now bearish, then what I'll be looking for is a retracement back into here, have a new shift, right, and a retracement to buy, basically. So it's almost like I'm looking for a W pattern somehow. So what that means, it means that I need this to be the new lower low, then this will be the new lower high, then we'll have a break above that, making market structure bullish, then we'll have a retracement to buy. That's exactly what I'll be looking for. So let me see if I'm going to be adding this market for this week. Let's look at how the 1 hour is looking. Now for the 1 hour time frame, to be honest, the 1 hour time frame, this is exactly what it's telling me to do. The 1 hour time frame is telling me to wait for a minor break and retest above these levels, continue buying. You know, so pretty much it's telling me to just do this. So it really just depends on how market opens. Market opens to the downside, then I'll be waiting for a new rejection at this area. But we've already rejected it before, right? So we could also have a clean break and retest above here, because I like price to be above EME for me to be buying, right? So Euro AUD, I'll be looking for buy. So this will be my second pair for this week. GBP card, I'm sure that is the next pair. Let's go to the weekly. We delete everything and we see what we have right now. Weekly, not so clean, but market structure is bullish. Clearly the higher high right here, higher low right here. Going over to the left, there's nothing right there, right? So this is the higher high, higher low. So weekly is bullish. Daily is also bullish, right? Because this is the higher high. That's clearly the highest point, as you can clearly see, right? And we never broke above that level, as you can see. And then the higher low for that is this one right here. So as you can clearly see, we never broke below that level. So market structure is still bullish, right? So weekly and daily bullish. We have two time frame in sync. Now, which time frame is this? 4-hour time frame is also bullish, right? Now let's look for an area of interest. So it doesn't seem like we even have an area of interest or what. Okay, let's see this right here. Okay, so let's see. This is one rejection from this area, not so much of a clean rejection, just weak into the area. So I don't know, I will not count it. So let's count this one. 1, 2, 3, so it's valid. 4, 5, somewhat of a 6 rejection. Now, but price is not actually at area of interest, you know. So what makes sense is actually that we should come back to the area, to continue buying. Basically, that's what we'll be looking for. But I'm not feeling confident on this market. I mean, even if I can clearly see I have a game plan, but I still don't feel confident on this market, and I don't know why. Maybe because if price actually come back to area of interest, it will now shift 4-hour time frame bearish. Then I have to wait for 4-hour time frame to shift bullish again. But the weekly and daily is already bullish, but they're not looking so clean to me. I don't know, man. I don't think I'll be so much interested in GBP card, right? Simply because it's not looking clean to me. It's not. I don't know how to explain it, but it's not looking that clean. Euro GBP. Let's see what we have. Weekly time frame. Okay, so Euro GBP should just simply get back to this area first before we start paying attention to this market. In fact, right? But if you're looking for a counter trend trade setup, then we should be looking for buys. So price has not gotten to this area, right? So I mean, price has not gotten back to this area just yet, right? So let's look at, I mean, weekly is bearish, daily, okay, daily is bullish, 4-hour time frame, 4-hour time frame is currently bearish for some reason. Anyway, once the price gets to this area, we'll start paying attention to the market. For now, I'll be sitting this one out, you know. I'll be sitting this market out. CAD JPY, again, JPY pairs, we're expecting buys, but price just breezed through area, right? So I'm not paying attention to JPY pairs until price settles down, basically, because this move doesn't happen all the time. You understand? It doesn't happen all the time. It's not a regular move in the market. So I need price to settle down so that I'll not be FOMOing into a trade, right? AUD USD. Okay, so let me delete all this first. Alright, so what time frame is this? Daily, bearish. Weekly, technically bullish somehow. This market this week is almost hard to analyze, you know, because I don't know, the market is not so clean. I think there's only one clean market that I'm in love with, which is GBP NZD. The rest of the market, I don't know, something is off somehow. So let's see, this time frame is what again? Should we call it bearish or should we call it bullish? Is this a higher high, higher low, or higher high, higher low, then we had a break, you know? Alright, I'll just call it bullish. Overall time frame, overall market structure on the weekly, bullish, right? Because I mean, we have pretty much been bullish, right? So let's just call it bullish. Weekly is bullish. Daily is technically bearish, but we are breaking highs, right? We are breaking highs, but it's technically bearish. This is clearly the lower low, and this is the lower high. 4-hour time frame is also bullish, right? It's also bullish. I mean, maybe if we can break above this high again, you should be interested in buying. So basically, something like a break and retest above this level to buy. Again, this one seems like I'm forcing this market. You see what I mean? So this one actually seems like I'm forcing the market to buy. So I'll just keep it on the sidelines. Oh, what happened to EURUSD now? So what happened to this? So I'll just keep it on the sidelines. Let's see where to keep it. I feel like I just deleted 2 pairs, and I don't know which pair I deleted. So I mean, let's continue. So where am I? All right, next pair, Euro NZD. Okay, so we are currently at some form of a support level. Let's see the weekly. Okay, so some form of a weekly and daily support level. Not really liking that. And all time frames are bearish. Right, at support level we should be buying. At support level we should be buying, but seems like the market is now bearish. So we'll be paying attention to this market for next week. NZD USD. Daily time frame is bullish. Okay, I think I like NZD USD. Let's see. Daily time frame is bullish. Weekly time frame is also bullish. Okay. Let me just mark this first. Let's mark it on the daily. So let me mark this high. This will be our final take profit target. Right. Let me know if this trade is actually worth taking. Right. So 2 time frames are bullish. Let's see the 4 hour. I think I need the 4 hour to clearly be bullish for me to be interested. So the time frame is also bullish. So we have all the 3 time frame telling us to buy, right? And this will be our final take profit target right here. So how do we enter this market? Let's look at the 1 hour. I think if 1 hour can give us a clean retracement to somewhere around this level, I need structure somehow, right? Then we can potentially buy to this level right here. So NZD USD, we'll just keep it close. Just keep it close. NZD JPY. As a matter of fact, NZD JPY, I simply just believe that market will continue bearish, right? I believe if we have a clean retracement around here, we should be selling. But I'm not interested in JPY pairs for this week. Same thing with Euro JPY. Again, all the markets, I simply expect the same thing. Retracements around here to sell. GPBCHF. I've not traded GPBCHF for quite some time now because the market, I don't know, something is wrong with that market. It just weaken. There's too much weak out, up and down all the time. It will sell and it will just recover immediately. I don't like that market. USD JPY, same thing. A retracement to here to sell. Or what if we just trade one JPY pair for next week? Let's not be like I'm calling this market and they're playing out, but I not catch all of them, right? So I can just trade one JPY pair for next week. We don't have to trade all JPY pairs because I'm expecting the same thing for all the markets, right? So I mean, I kind of want the JPY pair to recover, but this could also play out too as well. It really just depends. So I don't know. I'll make a decision on if I'm going to actually trade a JPY pair next week or not. But if I'm trading a JPY pair, I'll just trade the cleanest, the one that will give me the cleanest price action, right? That's if this even happens. If this retracement actually happens clean enough and the engulfing actually happens clean enough, right? Before I actually even enter the market. So it really just depends. Again, I'll update you guys on the Telegram channel. In order for you to join, simply come to the YouTube right here. Click on this one that says Instagram and one more link. Click on one more link. You see that the one more link right here is Telegram. Click on this link right here to join the Telegram channel. It's pretty easy, right? Next pair, AUD card. Alright, see, look at this shit market. What's this? AUD card weekly time frame is rubbish. Daily time frame pretty much consolidating around this level. 4 hour time frame, same thing, not interested, right? Not interested. USD CHF. I'm also not interested in USD CHF. So let's take a look at oil. Wow, so if I held this trade, assuming I held this trade to here, that would be 1:15 risk to reward ratio. But I don't think I would have done that anyways. Oil for now, I can't see anything on oil. I almost still believe oil should continue buying. Right? I almost still believe oil should continue buying. Can have a clean break and retest above here to buy. Also good. US 30. For some reason, I've not liked US 30, because there's too much wicks. There's too much wicks to the ups and to the downside. So I might just remove US 30. I don't know. I think it's too volatile. NAS 100, expecting NAS 100 to continue selling. At least to this level first. S&P 500. We are not trading all these markets, right? I'm just testing the strategy on this market. So the markets I will be paying attention to is NZD, GPBUSD for these sales. Hopefully, if you can get it, that might actually be the only trade you might take next week. GPBUSD, this one right here, or Euro AUD. If you can, it really depends on what market does, right? If you can have a clean break and haters above, we'll be buying, right? Or if you come back to area of interest and we have a new shift of structure, we'll be interested in buying. So this one, I'm also not liking it as much as GBP/NZD. Gold, we have nothing on gold for now, but I believe that gold should actually buy from here, right? So that's that on gold, or maybe even continue selling to this level to buy. So it really just depends. But I'm not interested in gold this week anyways. Then other pairs I might just be looking and paying attention to. I should add one JPY pairs also on this list. So that would be NZD USD to look for reasons to buy. NZD card. Now NZD card to buy all the way to this level and then have a new shift of structure to sell. I don't think it's going to be ready this week. It's a good trade, but I don't think it's going to be ready this week. That's why I'm not interested that much. GBP AUD. I need price to pretty much shift structure to sell. Right? I think that's what this means. Let me see. Let me just withdraw as well, please. Break above this high. Break below this low. Shift structure to sell. So that is exactly what I'm looking for. So shift of structure to sell, I'll just draw this as minor area right here, right? If I extend it to the left, you can see that it also have multiple rejections. So if you can have a shift of structure to sell, I'll be interested in selling GBAUD. Depends on if market give us the opportunity. Then one GPY pair, of which will be cleaner on the 1 hour time frame. We'll need a retracement to this level to sell, and then AUD USD.